Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Today, we will cover what to do after an approved retirement. My name is Senior Airman de Venecia.
And I am Staff Sergeant Moody Taylor.
We will serve as your narrators today. Today's briefing is designed for Lieutenant Colonels and below who are approved for non-disability retirements. If you have any questions, please make note of them, and we will take time at the end of the session for you to ask them. Additionally, if you are pending retirement action under Disability Evaluation System, please contact the Air Force Personnel Center Disability Division for information regarding your retirement process. Colonels and Colonel Selects should contact the Air Force Colonels Group for assistance with their applications. Throughout this briefing, we will mention the Retirement Approval Authority for Chief Master Sergeants and Chief Selects who require a waiver or wish to change their retirement dates. The approval authority is the Chief's Group. For all others, the approval authority is the AFPC Retirements Branch.
Today, we'll go over what you can expect after your retirement is approved. We will talk about items such as the retirement application approval message, retirement orders, travel orders for members retiring from overseas, the process for requesting retirement date changes or withdrawals, relocation processing requirements such as the initial retirement relocation briefing, along with assistant resources like the Transition Assistance Program. Then we'll discuss some general information on retirement pay, permissive TDY and terminal leave, the career skills program, and end with the DD-214 process. Now that you have a brief description on what we'll be covering, let's get started.
When your retirement application was approved, you receive a message like the example shown on this slide. It contains a link to a lengthy article in MyPers, and it is vital that you read it all, as it contains instructions on what to do after approval. Some of the key items mentioned in this article are how to obtain your retirement orders, completion of your DD Form 214 worksheet, information about your retirement pay, and the initial retirement processing briefing. Additionally, it is vital that you maintain accurate contact information throughout the process. Please be sure to include an accurate forwarding address on your DD Form 214 worksheet in case we need to contact you following your retirement. Again, it is very important that you read the approval notification and MyPers article thoroughly, as it will help prepare you for your retirement. This slide shows an example of what the briefing looks like. You will have to click on each individual link until you have reached the congratulations link. Remember, the briefing is mandatory for all retirees and is lengthy. It is important to read the entire briefing as it contains important information for all your out-processing requirements and preparations for transition to civilian life. Finally, you must provide certification of completion of the briefing when you final out process with your servicing military personnel flight or MPF. Be sure to print certification statement located in the congratulation link and provide a copy to your MPF.
Typically, once your retirement is approved, you can expect to receive your retirement order from your local MPF within 24 hours. Your retirement order should also be available in your product record within 2 duty days of approval. If you do not receive your retirement order at least 60 days prior to your projected departure date, you should contact the Total Force Service Center for assistance.
Here is an example of a retirement order. Your order is the authority for your retirement. Therefore, it is essential that it is correct and that you safeguard it upon receipt. The retirement order, in conjunction with your DD Form 214, certificate of release or discharge from active duty, are required for certain entitlements, such as compensation from Department of Veterans Affairs, and other things like property tax exemptions. Please review your order to ensure 100% accuracy. If you see anything wrong, please contact your MPF or the Total Force Service Center for assistance.
If you are retiring from the overseas area, you will receive another order or an amendment to your original order, which authorizes travel for your command-sponsored family members. This order is required for you to obtain tickets or arrange household goods shipments from the overseas area. The Total Force Service Center prepares these orders approximately 180 days prior to your retirement and will send you a copy through the virtual MPF. If you haven't received this travel authorization by then, please contact the TFSC for assistance. A special authorization is not required for family members if you are retiring from the CONUS. You can use your current PCS order or DEERS printout when filing your travel voucher to obtain reimbursement for your family members.
With the creation of virtual MPF, nearly all members retiring from overseas can now complete processing prior to departing the overseas area. However, there may be times when you are required to travel to an Air Force base in the United States to complete their final actions. Requests for this travel may be approved if you are stationed at a location where processing facilities don't exist and it is not feasible for your commander to send you on a temporary duty to a nearby installation to complete processing. In very rare cases, if you are stationed at a location where facilities do exist, you may request travel to a separation processing base in the United States. When you can provide documentation to show you are experiencing a unique personal hardship or that it would be in the best interest of the Air Force. You must submit a request for travel to a separation processing base at least 60 days prior to departure. Examples of the request and required justification are outlined in the Personnel Service Delivery Guide on the Separation Processing Base program at the link shown on this slide. You can also contact the Total Force Service Center for assistance.
Some of you may experience issues after approval that may require changing your retirement date or canceling the application altogether. Many actions begin once your retirement is approved, including identification and movement of your replacement. Because many of these actions are irrevocable, changes or cancellations are done only under extreme circumstances. Requests for date changes or cancellations must be fully justified and may be approved when you are experiencing an extreme personal hardship that occurred or worsened after the approval of the retirement. Requests may also be approved when documentation shows it would be in the best interest of the Air Force. Finally, requests may be approved if you are selected and notified of promotion after initial approval. Please note the date changes are not approved for common personal issues like alignment with civilian employment opportunities. Since these requests can take 4 to 6 weeks to process, it is important that you submit a date change or cancellation request through the virtual MPF as soon as you are aware of the circumstances.
For many of you, the next step is to begin your out-processing actions. There are several requirements you must complete prior to departing on permissive TDY or terminal leave. As we mentioned before, these requirements are outlined in the retirement approval article on the MyPers website. If you have trouble accessing the information through the approval memorandum, you can also access it through the virtual MPF. In a moment, we will show you how to access this briefing. You must also contact your military personnel flight to have them load your virtual out-processing checklist, as well as establish your final out-processing appointment. The MPF will assist you with any processing issues you may have. Other assistance programs exist, including the Transition Assistance Program, TAP, sponsored by your Airmen and Family Readiness Center. Other helpful resources such as the Department of Veterans Affairs are also available. If you have not attended a TAP briefing, we recommend you sign up as soon as possible. We will cover more on these resources in a few minutes.
In addition to the online briefing, there are several transition services available to individuals who are retiring. The redesigned Transition Assistance Program, initiated by the Veterans Opportunity to Work Act of 2011 and the Veterans Employment Initiative, requires that 4 mandates to be completed by all military personnel prior to separation or retirement. The first step in the transition process should be the completion of the DoD pre-separation counseling. Pre-separation counseling is a congressionally mandated briefing that will provide you with information on the various benefits, rights, and services that can help you identify your needs and develop a personal plan for securing the assistance to meet those needs. If you are anticipating retirement, you can begin participating in the transition process as soon as 24 months preceding the anticipated retirement date. However, pre-separation counseling must commence no later than 90 days before your date of discharge or separation. The Transition GPS workshop should be the next step in the process. This is the only mandate that has allowable exemptions, which are service members retiring with 20 or more years of active federal service, service members with documented civilian employment or acceptance to accredited career tech training, undergraduate or graduate degree program, members with specialized skills which require deployment within 60 days, and Air Force wounded warriors enrolled in an approved education and employment initiative. Part of the Transition GPS workshop is comprised of the Department of Labor Employment Workshop, where the Department of Labor focuses on job-seeking techniques such as interview skills and building an effective resume. The VA benefits and service briefing is mandated for all personnel. Most Transition GPS workshops include this curriculum. If you are exempt from attending the workshop, you may attend standalone VA brief if available. The VA benefits and service briefing discussed by a VA representative will explain the various benefits you may be eligible to receive. Benefits discussed include disability compensation, health and medical care, education and training opportunities, home loan guarantees, and life insurance options and other programs and benefits for certain qualified family members. Finally, Capstone is a culminating activity to ensure you are career ready. As with pre-separation counseling, this is a mandatory for all personnel and should be accomplished no later than 90 days prior to separation or as soon as possible for those impacted by force management. In conjunction with the Airmen and Family Readiness Center Transition Counselor, each commander or approved designee is required to electronically sign your e-form indicating whether you are or are not career ready, i.e. have completed the 12 months post-separation budget, resume, etc., as determined by OSD. Individual training tracks are available to help you in your transition. They include 2-day courses focusing on 3 self-selected career paths: assessing higher education for those pursuing a college education, career technical training for those seeking job-ready skills and industry-recognized credentials in a shorter-term training program, entrepreneurship, boots to business, for those wanting to start their own business. Although you cannot start the transition process until 24 months before an anticipated retirement, you can, at any time, attend portions of these Transition GPS workshops virtually. You can find all of the curriculum through the Joint Knowledge online website. Each Airmen and Family Readiness Center also provides additional services and activities to include classes and workshops such as resume writing, interviewing skills, etc. Contact your local Airmen and Family Readiness Center for class workshop schedules.
The pre-discharge program is a joint Department of Veterans Affairs and Department of Defense program that affords you the opportunity to file claims for disability compensation from the Department of Veterans Affairs up to 180 days prior to separation or retirement from military service. The four components of the pre-discharge program are the benefits delivery at discharge, or BDD, the decision-ready claim, DRC, the disability evaluation system, and seriously injured or slash very seriously injured SI slash VSI program. The BDD program was revamped as of 1 October 2017, which now requires you to submit a claim no earlier than 180 days and no later than 90 days prior to discharge. And you must be available for an examination 45 days from the date of claim submission. The goal of the redesign to the program was to ensure you receive a VA examination while still in service and a rating decision prior to discharge, as well as being awarded VA benefits the day after military discharge. If you have less than 90 days remaining until retirement, you may file a decision-ready claim, DRC. This program is a new option for service members who previously would have filed claims through the Quick Start program, along with the fully developed claim, FDC program, and traditional claims. You must work with an accredited VSO to file a pre-discharge DRC for VA compensation. The VSO will work with you to gather and submit copies of all service treatment records for all periods of military service at the time the intent to file is communicated, and a copy of DD Form 214, Certificate of Release of Discharge from Active Duty for all periods of military service at the time the formal claim is submitted. If you file a pre-discharge claim, you will receive an opportunity to have an in-service medical examination, which may increase the ability to establish service connection for claimed conditions. Once you have all evidence, including your exam results, you may file the DRC claim as early as the day after you discharge from active duty. Each Airmen and Family Readiness Center has a local VA POC to provide assistance. If you have questions regarding pre-discharge programs, you should contact your local Airmen and Family Readiness Center for VA POC. Veteran service organizations can help you with the preparation, presentation, and prosecution of VA claims. In essence, they work on your behalf for any matter concerning the VA.
Let's take a few minutes to go over some general retirement pay issues. Your final active duty pay will include payment for all unused leave, provided the number of unused days doesn't exceed the 60-day cap. All earned final active duty pay will go towards any indebtedness to the government prior to being paid to you. You should receive this final check within 15 days of your retirement date. However, many pay transactions occur when you retire, like calculation of terminal leave and permissive TDY, selling leave back, repayment of any pending debts to the government, and so on. Because of this, your final active duty paycheck may be delayed, so you should be prepared financially in case this happens.
Now, unlike active duty pay, you will only receive retirement pay once a month. Normally, you can expect your first retirement check the first day of the month after your retirement effective date. For example, if you retire on August 1st, you should receive your first retirement paycheck September 1st. Many things we mentioned about your final active duty check may also affect the calculation of your retired pay, like debts to the government, acceptance of the career status bonus, and so forth. The special circumstances may require the Defense Finance and Accounting Service to perform manual calculations of your retired pay to ensure accuracy. This does not happen very often, but this manual process could delay your retired pay 2 to 3 months. Therefore, we highly recommend you have a financial reserve to tide you over for 60 to 90 days, in case there are any delays with DFAS starting your retired pay. You are probably wondering when your last duty day will be now that you are approved for retirement. This date will be determined by amount of permissive TDY or terminal leave your commander authorizes you to take in conjunction with your retirement. Permissive TDY is non-chargeable leave. Your commander may authorize up to 20 days if retiring from a stateside base or up to 30 days if retiring from an overseas location. The purpose of permissive TDY is to help you in your transition from active duty to civilian status and should be used for things like job and house hunting. Terminal leave is any leave that you have earned and will be taken in conjunction with your retirement date. This leave will be taken after your final out process from your unit. Both terminal leave and permissive TDY are subject to approval by your commander. Your commander may authorize all, some, or none of your requested leave and permissive TDY.
When calculating your departure date, one thing to consider is that you will still be earning leave while you are on leave. You will accrue 2.5 days of leave per month up to your retirement date. However, the same rules of leave accrual apply, such as the maximum amount carried over from one fiscal year to another. Currently, this maximum is 60 days. So if you are planning on taking terminal leave through 30 September, such as from 1 September to 30 November, and you will have more than a maximum allowable amount of leave to carry over, your leave balance will automatically be reduced to the maximum number of carryover days. Be sure to adjust your departure date accordingly to account for this, or take normal leave before you out process to use any days over the maximum allowable carryover to avoid losing them. If you are on leave effective 30 September, your leave balance will automatically be reduced to the maximum carryover, currently 60 days, unless you are entitled to special leave accrual, SLA. You may not request to extend an approved retirement solely to take leave that you did not account for. On the next slide, you will see an example on how to calculate your retirement leave.
In our example, Master Sergeant John Doe is requesting a retirement date of January 1st. This is how he would figure out his leave dates. Master Sergeant Doe will have a leave balance of 47 days at the end of August. He will continue to earn leave all the way through December. By the end of December, he will have accrued a total of 57 days of leave that he may take as terminal. If the commander also approves the maximum amount of permissive TDY, in this case 20 days, that brings the total to 77 days. Then you simply start with the last day of chargeable leave, 31st December, and count backwards 77 days. For Master Sergeant Doe, his last duty day would be 15 October, and he'll begin his permissive TDY and terminal leave on the 16th. The Job Training, Employment Skills Training, Apprenticeships and Internships Program, also known as the Career Skills Program, is designed to prepare airmen to transition from military to civilian employment. SkillBridge Career Skills Programs are vocational and technical training programs that focus on the practical application of learned skills and can lead to employment in a specific career or technical trade. Apprenticeships are generally a combination of on-the-job training, OJT, and related instruction that may be sponsored jointly by an employer and union groups, individual employers, or employer associations. Internships are a type of work experience for entry-level job seekers. Internships may become completed in federal, state, or local government, or in the private sector, and may consist of OJT and work experience. On-the-job training is a job skills learned at a place of work while performing the actual job. More information on this program is available on MyPERS website at the link shown on this slide. Your local education and training office manages the CSP program and can provide you additional information on the application process, as well as a list of approved programs. You may, if desired, initiate a request for CSP after you are approved for retirement, but at least 30 days prior to the start of your requested CSP start date. Your unit commander or civilian leader must approve a participation in the CSP, but there is no guarantee of approval since participation will depend upon your unit's specific manning situation and mission requirements. We highly encourage you that you discuss your desires with your commander or civilian leader before applying for CSP.
Additionally, CSPs are normally located within 50 miles of your current location or residence. However, your commander may approve an alternate location. The total amount of time you can spend in a CSP will depend upon mission requirements as well as whether or not you will be taking permissive TDY and terminal leave. The total time in CSP plus permissive TDY plus terminal leave cannot exceed a total of 180 days. Permissive TDY must be taken prior to or after participation in the CSP. Terminal leave may be taken concurrently with the CSP. However, the total number of days away from your unit cannot exceed 180. If you take terminal leave concurrently with CSP, you will complete your final out processing prior to departure. Please contact your education and training office for more information on this program. Now, let's go over the 214 process. The Duty Form 214 Certificate of Release or Discharge from Active Duty is not intended to be a comprehensive resume. Rather, it is simply a document issued to you to verify your number of years served, characterization of service, separation code, and re-entry code if applicable, professional military education, training related to primary duties, and decorations you received. For resume purposes, we may highly recommend that you secure a copy of your verification of military experience and training, or VMET, at the link shown on the slide. The VMET is a great tool written in civilian-friendly terms to use when writing a resume. You can also provide prospective employers with photocopies of your training certificates if needed. When the DD 214 initially populates in the virtual NPF, it only shows your professional military education. The DD 214 technicians populate the form with the remaining training that is updated in the Military Personnel Data System known as MOPDS. We often receive requests to include unauthorized information on the DD 214. AFI 36-3202 separation documents outlines the specifics on preparing this form. The only types of training included on the DD Form 214 are professional military education and formal in-service training. These formal training courses directly correspond to the Education and Training Course Announcements catalog. Each of these courses include a code which is updated in the MOPDS. Since MOPDS is used to populate the training area of the DD Form 214, it is imperative that you ensure your eligible training is updated prior to your retirement date. Further, you should be aware that we are required to omit ancillary and combat training courses on the 214. With the 214 being a DoD document, we remain in compliance with governing directives and policies. Please understand that we cannot accept training certificates submitted by you via email for inclusion on the DD Form 214, since there is no way for us to verify their certificate's authenticity. Therefore, it is key for you to ensure all of your training is updated in MOPDS. Please contact your military personnel flight or the Total Force Service Center for assistance in updating your training information. Please note that the virtual NPF DD-214 application will not allow you to start a DD-214 worksheet until you are within 6 months of your retirement date.
When the DD-214 is finalized, a DD-214 tech will send you an email via MyPers informing you that the DD-214 has been completed. The final DD-214 will be available on the first business day following the retirement date. Since the DD-214 is processed electronically, it is extremely important that you have a personal email in the system. You should update a personal email address in the virtual NPF to make sure it is available. DD-214s are not mailed, and you must electronically retrieve it from the virtual NPF within 60 days of your retirement. Instructions are provided by the TFSC DD-214 tech on several occasions starting approximately 30 days prior to retirement. Safeguard the original since the DD-214 is processed electronically and comes out as a PDF file. You should save a copy of the file on your personal computer. If you need to request a copy of DD-214 or any other documents in your product record, you can log on to the VA benefits website and request it. Note that PRDA does not contain member copies 1 and 4 of the DD Form 214, only the service copy. Your copies of the DD-214 must be retrieved from the virtual NPF within 60 days of retirement. Periodically, the TFSC receives calls from veterans requesting a certified through copy of their DD Form 214. Please be advised that contrary to popular belief, there is no such thing as certified through copy of the 214. The signed copies you print on your local printer in that 60-day window, copies 1 and 4 are valid and should be accepted by all interested agencies. In the event a particular agency requires additional certification, we encourage you to take the original DD Form 214 to a notary and have them make a copy of it and notarize it. It is extremely important that you do not relinquish the original DD Form 214 to anyone, as it is the only original in existence.
AFPC currently has 7 technicians dedicated to assisting you with the completion of your DD Form 214. You will be sent an email via the virtual NPF approximately 30 days prior to your retirement date. This initial email is a reminder to initiate the DD-214 if you haven't already done so. It is important that you contact your information like your email address, phone number, and mailing address are current in the virtual NPF. If you have questions on your DD-214, you should contact the Total Force Service Center at 1-800-565-0102 or DSN 665-0102. If the customer service representative cannot answer your question, you will be transferred to the DD-214 technician working your case. Following the initial email reminder, the technician will prepare your DD-214. Once completed, the technician will push the DD-214 for you to review. Once the technician sends the DD-214, you can access the form via the virtual NPF. If you are on terminal leave, contact the A1 service desk at 210-565-5004 extension 1 to obtain a temporary user ID and password to access the DD-214 via your home computer. The user ID and password are good until 60 days after the effective retirement date. You will be able to review the form and either approve it or submit requested changes. When you submit changes, the technician is notified via email of the requested changes. The technician will review the request and either make the changes or respond to you with the reason the changes cannot be made. Once you approve the DD-214, the technicians are ready to finalize it. However, since the worksheet isn't a legal document, they are not allowed to start digitally signing the actual DD-214 until a week before the retirement date. Once signed, your technician will notify you that the form is final. Although your DD-214 may be finalized prior to your retirement, it is not available on the virtual NPF until your retirement effective date. You can access copy 1 and copy 4 through the virtual NPF for up to 60 days following your retirement date. After that, you may access the military service copy, copy 2, through the eBenefits website using the link shown here. To access copy 2, you must register for a premium account on the eBenefits website. Remember to download copies 1 and 4 of your DD Form 214 from the virtual NPF within 60 days of your retirement. Copy 2, available through eBenefits, contains the same data as your copy 4. However, some veteran support programs or agencies insist on receiving a version of copy 4. If you need help with your DD-214, please contact the Total Force Service Center at 1-800-565-0102 or DSN 665-0102.
Today, we touch on several items of interest following approval of your retirement. This briefing is not designed to replace your local relocation processing briefings or transition assistance programs. However, we did want to point out several items that might interest you. It is important that you review all information relating to your out-processing and complete all required actions to avoid any delays in your departure. Additionally, there are many resources available to you during your final processing. Please contact your military personnel flight or the Airmen and Family Readiness Center for more information. You may also contact the Total Force Service Center for assistance.
Here is a complete listing of our contact information. We can be reached at any of these numbers you see here or through our organizational emails. At this time, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns that pertain to the information presented today, please feel free to type them in and we'll begin to answer them as quickly as possible. Remember, the slides are now available for download and will also be posted on the AFPC website.
Thank you for listening today and good luck on your retirement.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to start answering your questions here shortly. Stand by.
Okay, we'll take our first question from Jerry Van Dyke from the DCS. Is that 20 or 30 calendar days or business days when we're talking about the permissive TDY limits? And that's always calendar days. Okay, next question from Tech Sergeant Altasia Johnson. Is the last paycheck the regular full paycheck? Your last paycheck will be what you regularly receive. However, they're going to factor in any leave settlements that you might have, any debts to the government, etc. So that's why it might take a little bit longer to get that final check, but it will incorporate the last 15 days of your service. Okay, question from Facebook Live from Kat Barnhart. How is final out processing and term PTDY worked when taking advantage of the Career Skills Program out of the local area? Also, how are the VA medical appointments work, since those two should be scheduled while on CSP? Well, as we stated in the briefing, you have to take the permissive TDY either prior to or following participation in the CSP. Terminal leave can be taken concurrently with the CSP, and as we mentioned in the briefing, the total amount that you can be away from your unit or that your commander can approve would be 180 days total. That includes participation in the CSP, permissive TDY, and terminal leave. How our VA medical appointments work, since those two should be scheduled while on CSP? Well, they're typically going to explain how that process works while you're in the transition assistance program, but you would have to manage those appointments just like any other medical appointments and out processing. And if you need to factor in the time that you're going to be in the CSP or so that you're away to manage those VA appointments, then you're going to have to factor that into your scheduling. You don't get additional time to just participate in those VA appointments just because you're in the CSP. Okay, question from DCS, Master Sergeant Green. How are half-day leave days counted? Round up or round down? They don't round up or round down on half days of leave. If you don't take the half day, and you haven't sold any leave back, you will be paid for that time. Okay, a question from Facebook Live from Jenny Selly. I was told the 20 days PTDY doesn't apply to regular separation, only when retiring. Voluntary separation incentive or involuntary separation incentive. Well, I can't speak for separation, but I do believe that it does apply. If you email our organizational box, then I'll pass your question on to the separations experts. This is a retirements briefing, and it does apply for retirement. Okay, question from the DCS from Master Sergeant Fitzpatrick. Is the 6 months for the DD-214 from the actual retirement date or your final out prior to starting permissive TDY? Same question applies for VA claim applications. The 6 months limitation is dependent upon your actual retirement effective date. Okay, question from the DCS from Gabriel Hernandez. Is there an exception to policy consideration for the DD Form 214 worksheet availability on virtual MPF for members approved for CSP opportunities that will be out processing their local MPF FSS prior to the 179-day mark? Well, again, the total that you can be away from your unit is 180 days, and that includes your permissive TDY, terminal leave, and participation in the CSP. There is no exception to policy for that. The system is restricted from allowing you to access that worksheet until you get within the 180-day point. So you do need to factor that in and make yourself available to complete that worksheet if you're on permissive TDY, terminal leave, or in the CSP. Question from the DCS, Tech Sergeant Rutherford, if we have maxed out our leave but have a retirement date on 1 November, then the leave we will gain goes to ? Will we have to sell it back? Again, if you have the maximum amount of carryover days on 30 September, if you're over that 60-day limit and you're not authorized special leave accrual, you will lose those additional days. When you get to your retirement date, if you don't take all the leave that you've accrued by that date and you haven't sold it back, then finance will automatically calculate that as selling the leave back.
So they'll combine for the retirement, the service
Yeah,
dates.
go ahead and answer it.
So to Adam Estrada, if you have a D-214 from a previous separation from active duty, will they combine both for retirement or will they be separate documents? They would still be separate documents. Your DD-214 for retirement will include information as far as service dates time from that prior service period.
But you need to maintain both, right? You do need to maintain both of those, or all of your DD-214s that you have if you have multiple periods of service. So be sure to safeguard them all. Okay, question from the Facebook Live from Johannes Kepler. I am retiring remotely in Norway. If I retire in Norway, which relocation benefits can be used after retirement? Well, you're entitled to a home of selection if you have 8 or more years of continuous service just immediately prior to your retirement date. So you would be entitled to a home of selection move out of Norway. You're entitled to all other relocation benefits. If you can't out-process at that current location, then you can request travel to a separation processing base nearest your home of selection or your leave address. And we covered that information in the briefing, but if you have more questions on it, please email our organizational box and then we can talk to you specifically about your unique circumstances. Okay, there's a question from DCS, from Master Sergeant Q. On slide 5, after you reach the end of the initial briefing and you reach the congratulation link, what is the next step again? You need to, when you click on the congratulations link, it's going to bring up a confirmation of completion of the briefing. You need to print that off, sign it, and turn it into your MPF because that's part of your final out processing with them. Okay, question from Facebook Live from Jacqueline Reitz. If retiring overseas and active duty spouse remains at base, what happens to travel entitlement and household goods of retiring member? Wouldn't be leaving area, but staying as a dependent. You retain your travel entitlements for home of selection move for a year after your retirement date. You can request extensions of those benefits through your TMO office or the personal property agency, and your local TMO should be able to provide you additional information on that. Okay, question from DCS from Nolan Green. I'm trying to get a couple of things changed on my DD Form 214. I tried to go through the process, but I'm having no luck. Thus, yesterday I called the TFSC to get additional help, and I believe they put in a trouble ticket, but is there any way I can talk to someone about this because this is holding up my VA claim? Please give us a call or email us at that organizational email, and then we can look into your case individually. Unfortunately, we don't have access to your information from our webinar site. Okay, question from the DCS, Jeffrey Andrews. If we retire on 1 February, will the last pay raise be factored into our 3rd year of retired pay calculation? If you're under the high 3 retirement program, then the pay raise will impact the appropriate months that you're on active duty once the pay raise is effective. It's not a full year benefit. It's your high 3 is calculated based on your base pay for the highest 36 months of your service. And that's typically the last 3 years that you're on active duty. So any pay raises that impacted your base pay would be effective for those particular months, and not you don't get a credit for a full year if you only receive the pay raise for 1 or 2 months. Okay, question from the Facebook Live from Adam Latapi, can I do a partial DITY move prior to my skill bridge, and can I complete part of it before and the rest after? Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that, but if you email our organizational box, then we can get with the skill bridge program business process owners as well as TMO and talk to them about your specific questions. Question from the DCS from Destiny West. When retiring from overseas and you spend your last couple of months on active duty on terminal in the States, do you get BAH entitlements for those last couple of months? Typically, your BAH is going to be dependent upon where your terminal leave address is, but you'd want to check with your finance office for specifics, and they can tell you the exact amounts that you would receive based on your leave address. Okay, there's this question from Facebook Live from Stacy Rembold about including some special requirement on your orders. We're going to have to research that, so please email our organizational box. I'm not sure what CBA is, but we'll have to get with the TMO to talk to them about that. Question from the DCS from Major Kelly. If my last day falls on a Friday, is it possible to sell 2 days of leave as long as I certify I won't depart my duty area until Monday? Yes, you would have to do a certification on that, but you would be able to sell those days back if it's not leave. Question from the DCS from Troy Chevalier. When counting terminal leave, what is the last leave day? For instance, officially retiring on 1 September, is 1 September the last day of leave or 31 August? Okay, when you retire, your last day of active duty, as we stated in the briefing, is the day prior. So in your case, if you're going to be retiring on 1 September, the last day of active duty is 31 August, and that would be your last day of leave. You don't count your retirement date when you're calculating leave. Okay, question from Tech Sergeant Rayford. With BDD, you stated we have to have a medical appointment within 45 days. Does this have to be in the same area that you retire? Not typically, but we're going to have to ask the Transition Assistance Program folks that handle the BDD for more information on that. So we will reach back to you and let you know the exact answers. And for all the questions, if we didn't answer your question today, we will research everything and then post the questions and answers probably sometime next week, and they'll be available on MyPERS, and we will announce when those are available. That's all the time we have for today. We appreciate you attending. And if we didn't answer your question, we will get back to it. Or if you think of something else, please email us at the addresses on the screen.